Hi, Microsoft share a best practice how to use a selected value instead of values DAX. So for example here, this is the way to use a selected value. Oh, but and the former way is using the has one value and values. Now how is but first, what is the selected value all about? Selected value is here. The selected value returns the values where the context for column name has been filtered down to one distinct values only. So yeah, it's just as what it says, right? So you filter down to one distinct value. Okay, and this is a syntax. So this is the name of an existing column using standard text syntax. So it's like here, right? See here, this is the one column. Okay, and this will give you a one single value, a distinct value. So if you duplicate, it will take only one distinct value. Okay, in other words, unique. And you can also use another way, which is more lengthened, right? Is has one value. So this is also doing the same thing. It check that the has one value function returns true only when a single value of a country is visible in the current filter context. So it's very invisible, right? So when it is true, so it elaborate in such a way from the top to the down, right? So it check whether is there one value. If a single value of a country region column is visible in the current context, it's visible, the key is visible. If it's true, the values is then used, right, to compare the literal text. So the values function return true. So what's the values function return? What's the meaning of values? We will explain in a short while. Yeah. So now, if the has one value is returned false, that means because there's more than one value filter the column. Okay, it's more than one value filters the column. So the first if function returns blank. So when it's blank, then there's nothing here. Now the has one value is a defensive technique. It's required because it's possible that multiple values filter a country region column. In this case, the values function returns a table on a multiple rows. Now, if you compare a multiple rows or the table of multiple rows to a scalar value, it will result in an error. So that's why there is a has one values. So you just want to make sure that there's only one value. This is exactly what the dash means, has one value. So this has been replaced with a better DAX function called selected value. It's just one, and it will represent this. So now it means that this DAX function, which formerly have if has one value values, is now replaced with just selected values. So you know what, you don't need this, you just need this. It will return the same thing. You see that? If it's one value, it will calculate, take the sales times the 10%. Now if it's not a single value, then it will not do anything because there is no alternate value it shows here. So this is explained in the Microsoft articles on the best practice of using selected values instead of values. So yes, the source is from Microsoft, and use a selected value instead of value. As a data modeler, sometimes you might need to write a DAX expression that tests whether a column is filtered by a specific value. So how do you test whether a column is filtered by a specific value? So right, the key is that is only 1. So in the early version of DAX, this requirement was safely achieved by using a pattern involving 3 DAX functions. So you need to combine the E for the has1 value and the values. The following measure calculates sales tax amount, but only for sales made to Australian customers. Okay, so there you go, right? So this is one. Now, this is explained that in my previous slide. And in this example, the has1 value function returns true only when a single value of the country region column is visible in the current filter context. When it's true, the values function is compared to the literal text Australia. When the values function returns true, the sales measure is multiplied by 0.1. If the has1 value function returns false because more than one value filters the columns, the first if function returns blank. The use of the has1 value is an expensive technique. It's required because it's possible that multiple values filter the country region column. In this case, the values function returns a table of multiple rows. Comparing a table of multiple rows to a scalar value results in an error. So what is this here? So this is what I just show you, and you have the selected values. So what Microsoft recommend is that it's recommended that you use the selected value function. It achieves the same outcome as the pattern described in this article, yet more efficient and elegantly, right? Shorter, efficient. Using the selected value function, the example measure defined is now rewritten, so it can be rewritten, right? Tips. So there you are. It's possible to pass an alternate result value into the selected value function. The alternate result value is returned when neither no filters or multiple filters are applied to the columns. No filters, or when the multipliers are applied, filters are applied to the column. Okay, cool. So this is what again I explained there, and selected value, and what is values, right? So let's come back to my here. We just search for values and match for SIA. Find a whole word. Let's just look at here. Okay, so we use a lot. Look at that. So we can use count the number of unique invoices. We also use values. So when you look at the sales order column of the any sales, right? So the order can be duplicate, right? So order number could be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it repeats several rows, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But it's really just one order. So how do you reduce it to just one, right? It's just a distinct, right? So if you repeat 4 times of 1, 2, 3 order number, I would say it's just only one. So that is using the values. So with that, you can do a count rows. Now that is how you count the number of unique invoices. So let's just take a look here. Okay, so there is a values. When the input parameter is a column's name, it returns a one column table that contains the distinct value from the specific column. Duplicate value are removed and only unique value are returned. A blank value can be added when the input. Now this is the second situation when the input parameter is the table name, returns rows from the specific. Duplicate rows are preserved. A blank rows can be added. Duplicate rows are preserved. Return rows from the specific. So this is something that you need to watch out. So let's take a look at one more. Okay, there is another things here, right? So as you can see here, so a better explanation here. So same thing, right? Counts the number of rows. Right, so that's equal to products. Okay, the following formula counts the number of unique invoices. sales order and produce the following result when used in code that include the product category. So the product category is right here. See, this is the product category. So I want to know that the number of invoices related to the this accessory product category. Yeah, cool. Okay, I think that's about it. And in this video, you just learn how to why is it better to use selected value instead of values, and also you learn the meaning of the DEX of has one value, and you can use if in the DEX as well, and the values and the various functions. Okay, yeah, I hope this is useful to you. Thanks for watching.